Hi, I'm Artemis and welcome to my channel. Up until recently, this has been my wet palette. As you can see, it has seen better days, as I've also used it for a lot of different projects such as acrylics on canvas. This was a really cheap DIY project to make, and a wet palette will also help you a lot when you paint your miniatures. It only takes an airtight container, and I used these which are stackable. Then you need a cheap washcloth. Mine is made from a blend of cotton and cellulose to retain the moisture, and on top of that a piece of baking parchment. I recently had the chance to borrow an Army Painter wet palette, and I immediately noticed the difference. So after a few years with my homemade one, I finally upgraded, so let's unpack it and paint some minis. The Army Painter wet palette comes with an easy to use instruction pamphlet, as well as painting guide and a safety guide. You also get 50 Wargamers hydro sheets and 2 pieces of hydrofoam. The wet palette itself is made up from 3 pieces: a lid, a mid-tray for contrast paints and washes, as well as a small compartment that's compatible with your Army Painter brushes. Then we have the bottom tray, where the actual wet palette goes. To assemble the wet palette, you take one of the hydrofoam sheets and pour some water on it. Once that's done, you take one of the hydro sheets and put it on top. Start from one side to eliminate any air bubbles, and now you're ready to paint. Once you're done painting, you can just close the lids and attach the strap, and your paint should keep for up to 48 hours. I wanted to try to paint this mini that I resin printed. This is a free mini that I found on Thingiverse by the user Wirefox. This mini matched perfectly with one of my D&D NPCs, which I made for a campaign that I ran some time back. His name is Cardoon Big Toe, because he's missing a big toe, and he's a dwarf fighter and a retired soldier. He now spends his days at the tavern, getting drunk, smoking his pipe, and occasionally helping out new adventurers. I am by no means a great painter, but I like the learning and improving aspect of it. I also learned the painful lesson that painting and brush control is a perishable skill, so I'm also quite out of practice. You'll see me make a ton of mistakes while painting this guy, but I think he still turned out alright. I started out with some base colors, like his skin, hair and beard, before I moved on to his clothes and weapons, before I went back and forth for details and finished off with the base. I always dread painting eyes, but I do think that they turned out alright after a few tries. here's the final result. All in all, I really like painting with a new wet palette. It has a big surface area, it keeps my paints moist throughout the painting process, and I checked 2 days afterwards and the paint is still usable after about 48 hours. I hope you enjoyed this video and I hope to see you back again on my channel. Thanks for watching!